Hey guys, welcome back to Retro Motorsports USA. In today's video, we're going to be diving into Wynter's 2001 E39 M5 finished in Schwartz 2 over black. So in this video, it's going to consist of a paint correction, a clutch job, brake booster removal and replacement, and a whole tons of other things that you're going to want to stick around and catch. So without further ado, stay tuned and enjoy. So initially, Wynter came through to us to pick up a few parts off of 540 parts car we had on the lot. But after she saw what we do in the shop, she felt comfortable bringing her car to us to service and replenish. So we are looking forward to it, and I'm sure she is as well. All right, so we were back with the M5 day 2. Yesterday got about halfway done with the vehicle, so I'm gonna walk around and show you guys how it's coming out so far. So under direct light, you can see how visible the swirl scratches are. The whole vehicle carries these from all over. Every angle you look at it is where you'll see them. So this side has not been touched yet. And for comparison, we're gonna take a trip to the other side, just so you can see the difference. So looking a lot better from this angle. Got to go back and still polish the rest of the car. Right now I'm on the cutting stage, but she's in very, very good shape compared to what it came in looking like. So we'll go ahead and crank out the rest of the car, polish it up, and see how good this paint cleaned up.
We're working on this E39 M5. We're doing a couple maintenance items to it. It runs pretty well, but we want to make sure it keeps running good. We're going to do some fluid changes. It's leaking oil in a couple spots. Mainly the engine is leaking from the rear main seal. We're going to, at that time, since we got to take off the trans to fix that, we're going to do the clutch. The differential in the rear is leaking from the pinion seal. So when we're obviously taking off the drive shaft and that, we're going to take care of it at the same time. And she also wants to look into a bit of a brake issue she's having. We determined that it needs a master cylinder, so we're going to go ahead and replace that, and also take care of some brake hoses and do a fluid flush on the brakes as well at that time. So we're going to get started. So over here we got a leak. You can see it's getting on the plastic, but if you go up towards where it's actually coming from, even without removing the plastic, you can see the oil between the trans and engine. It's not always a rear main seal, but if you fix the valve cover and there's nothing else on top leaking, it's a pretty good indication that, you know, leaks don't rise. So we move back here and you can tell that there's oil leaking from the diff. Same thing with the front. There's only one seal here where the oil leaks out, so it's a pretty good indication. There's 7 quarts. The car takes 6.5 quarts. So that means we're gonna pour all of this, and then all of one of the smaller guys, and then half of the small guy, and then we'll be good. But either way, you still want to check the dipstick if you have one. Some BMWs don't, but thankfully we have one here. Always a good idea. Make sure that there's no oil spilling out from under the door, no matter how many times you do this. ports. 1.5 to go. But you do want to be careful that you don't overfill it and spill on your valve cover. The oil will take away the powder coat. Should be good. So we got a lot of stuff ahead of us. It's not going to be easy, but this should be more or less easy. Although now that I say that, there might be a bolt or something that gives me an issue. But we'll probably just end up bagging these up so we don't lose them. And we can see the extent of the leak. Obviously the trans is covered in fluid. Again, it's the same thing with the diff. As the car moves this way, the air carries the leak over. So we'll have to make sure this thing's all filled with fluid when we do the clutch as well. But the good thing is the hard lines seem intact. Just a little bit of surface corrosion. Hose seems fine. But yeah, a lot of oil leaks, but that'll all be taken care of with the rear main seal. But either way, we still want to clean all this up so we make sure if there's an issue later on down the road, we can see it and make sure it's not, you know, just what we saw before. So we actually found over here the bolt I thought was broken is just on the other side. So we got pretty lucky. We're gonna go ahead and heat them up. You want to obviously heat the part that the bolt is threaded into. Heating the head of the bolt or any other part of the bolt doesn't do anything. You want to make sure obviously any sensors and stuff are out of the way as much as possible. So it seems like that one's pretty tucked away already. This stuff's meant to get hot, so usually if it's a stock car, everything's going to be out of the way for the most part. But yeah, just pick one and go. We're just going to start heating stuff up. I think it's gonna break. Yeah, it broke. Well, it sucks. Just gonna have another thing. Although, it is a stud. So, these aren't so bad. We were lucky to get them out on the other side, but those are the ones that are most easily replaceable either way. The ones that are harder to replace are these bolts. But, like I said, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Here we're over in the fab shop, and Fernie's about to go to town welding some of these cracks up. So we got them ground down, and now he's just gonna go ahead and seal it up.
Let's get to it.
How do you do? Let us know. Wasn't really going for a good bead, really just going to seal that crack up and stretch the resonator there back to the pipe. I think did pretty good.
Yeah, for what we're dealing with, this will work fine.
Yeah, it's really thin. We don't want to burn through it. All right, guys, so next we're going to be getting into the transmission, getting that out. I already got the drive shaft removed, got our linkage disconnected here and there, got the trans mount dropped. We are going to have to order some new brackets here, some new donuts for the exhaust, because that's no good, as well as we're looking up here. See, that clutch line does not look good. So we're gonna have to get a new one of those as well. All right, so I've been jamming and I got all the bell housing bolts out and in order of kind of the direction they came in around the bell housing. Got a pry bar in there, split it, so it's time to pop her off. All right, so we just got the transmission out, and yep, rear main seal's leaking pretty good. Can see caked inside the bell housing. Now here's the old clutch. We're gonna go ahead and get this removed. You can see it had an LUK clutch in it. Got the clutch removed, got the old pilot bearing out and the new one in. Just did some quick resurfacing here on the flywheel surface. And now here's the old clutch. You can see it's pretty worn out. And then here's the new LUK replacement. Just got the new rear main seal installed. We got the new gasket behind the housing as well as the seal itself. Our pilot bearing's already in, got the whole situation pretty clean. We're gonna go ahead and throw the flywheel on and then the clutch and pressure plate. Flywheel is torqued down. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and get the clutch on. Now we got our new pressure plate on, our new clutch on, still have the alignment tool in, moves real good. And the next thing I'm gonna do with our new pressure plate hardware is I'm gonna go ahead and torque them all. Just got the clutch line on, fed through the firewall. It was kind of a pain under the pedal box, but we got it in. Now I'm gonna go ahead and hook the slave back up to it, and then we can get the trans thrown back in.
So we're gonna take the pinion off. Well, I don't know what you call this, but it's a diff flange to get to the pinion gear so we can do the seal. It's leaking, we covered that earlier, but it's just this 32 nut. We're gonna hopefully take it off really easy.
Fernie's just cleaning out the gasket surface. We'll go ahead and get this tapped in.
So we got the pinion seal changed out. We got it back on. We made sure to mark it. It's marked on both sides. We got the nut going back on. We're gonna look up the torque spec, put this on, put it in the spec, and then this is done. Obviously you wanna check your fluid and stuff because it leaks out a little bit. So
we're just gonna do a drain here at the drain plug and then fill with our fresh liquid moly, fully synthetic, hypoid gear oil, LS ASE, GL5 75W140. So while I'm letting the diff drain, I've collected my parts. FCP kit always comes with 2 new plugs, a fill and a drain. I really like these easy fill bottles with the straw. So you just put it in the fill hole and squeeze. And on your second quart, it's gonna start coming out the fill hole, and that's when you know it's full. Now that we have fluid flowing out of our fill hole, we can go ahead and cap it. The next thing we're doing to this M5 takes us to the right rear of the car. We're going to be replacing this brake pad wear sensor, as well as this cracked brake hose here. New brake hose, as well as a Euro brake pad wear sensor. So let's go ahead and get these installed quick. Got the old brake hose and wear sensor off. I did have to remove the caliper just so it didn't get all twisted up, but look at this. Look how dark that fluid is. We are gonna go ahead and flush the system as we are doing a whole bunch of stuff with the fluid. We'll make sure that that looks clear by the time this car is out of here. One of the smaller things on the list of repairs for this car is adjusting the parking brake. These 2 cables here, over time, they stretch, and then you'll pull the handle all the way up and it will still barely engage the parking brake. So a quick thing that you can do a few times during the car's life before you need to completely replace the cables is adjust. So there's a 9mm nut here and a 12 underneath it. So you crack the 9mm loose with the handle down, and after you do that, you're able to adjust the 12mm just so it's taut on the cable, and then you get a good throw. Before, we were pulling all the way up and it was still barely engaged. Now it engages halfway through the throw and it engages great.
All right, so we're gonna get started with the master cylinder. The first step, especially while the car's in the lift, we're gonna go ahead and remove the covers here. This is part of the air box, so this is gonna come off, this is gonna come off, and then right underneath we'll be able to see the master cylinder and the booster. We got the old master out, we got the new one right next to it. We got the fittings off, they didn't give us issue, thankfully. We have an open space right here. While it's all open, we took advantage. We vacuumed the inside out and we made it all good to go back in. It's not gonna be an issue with dirt or anything. We're gonna pop in the new master cylinder and do basically the exact opposite of what we did to get it out, to get it back in. So once we get to that point, we'll show you guys again and we'll get to bleeding and the rest of it. All
right, we got the brakes bled, we got the clutch bled, new master and booster are in. Completed. We just bled the system, so next we're going to get the headlights reinstalled as well as the exhaust back up. What's up, guys? So as you might have noticed, we had the headlights off the car while we performed these repairs, and that's because the owner was getting them modified. So she got them modified, we got them wired back in properly. The wiring was a mess, so we ended up taking some time and cleaning up the wiring and got everything working. So that's awesome. They're not my style of headlight. I prefer OEM, you know, the originals, but for her. She likes them, so made them wired in right. Alright guys, so we got everything finished up on our E39 M5 and everything went great. We got the new clutch in, new clutch line, new pressure plate, throw-up bearing, all that good stuff associated with the clutch, rear main seal, and then on the brake side of things we did some new hoses, greased the front slide pins. Also we got the master cylinder and the brake booster done. That was big, it had a really low pedal, so we fixed that, which I'm happy about. It really livens the brakes up, you know, this is a fast car. You want it to be able to stop fast as well. So we took care of that as well as some other things that we saw. This car has been in Wynter's family for over 10 years and we want to give a shout out to Wynter and her dad for entrusting us with their beauty. It's going to be living on for many more miles to come. As the cherry on top of this one, after completed with service, Alex got at it with a paint correction and it is looking awesome. When this vehicle came in, it was looking more like a carbon black or a charcoal color. A Cosmo Schwartz, if you will, but now it is really wearing it black well. It's like a tuxedo. That's all this time on Retro Motorsports USA. We got this beautiful E39 M5 finished up, ready for the road. So we really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave us a thumbs up and a comment down below with your thoughts and suggestions. And if you like cars like this and want to see more similar content, follow us on all of our socials at Retro Motorsports USA. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next one.